All right, welcome everyone. I'm going to give everyone a few minutes to join us. This is the networking opportunities within Gies Online Programs. We're happy you're here. And so I see folks already joining us. If you don't mind, in the chat, just letting us know where you're logging in from. We love to get to know where people are logging in from. So feel free to put your location in the chat. And we'll wait for a minute or so before we get started. We already had Chicago. Welcome. Montgomery, Illinois. And also while you're waiting, you can scan the code on the screen if you want to connect with our team. So you can do that with your cell phone and just scan the code. I'm great. How are you doing? And my awesome colleague, Kate, will be answering questions in the Q&A. So I encourage you all to questions you may have, just put those in the Q&A. So that way that will give us, space for within the chat. But like I said, we'll get started here in a minute or so. If you're just now joining us, this is a networking opportunities within Gies Online Programs, and I'll be happy to see where you're logging in from. I think someone raised their hand. You have a question. Just put the question.
I messaged them, Marcus.
Okay, thank you. And again, if you are just now joining us, you can take your cell phone and you can scan the QR code on the screen if you have questions and you want to connect with our team. Feel free to do so. All right, well, we're going to go ahead and get started. My name is Marcus Phillips. I'm the Associate Director for Gies Online Graduate Programs. Just want to thank you for being here today. This is the networking opportunities within Gies Online Programs. So I'm joined by my fabulous coworker, Kate, who will be handling the questions in the Q&A. And again, if you do have questions, highly encourage you to ask those in the Q&A. Also, I am joined by two fabulous current students, which I'm so excited about. I can sit here and talk a lot about the program, but it's much more authentic to hear from our current students who are actually living the experience. And so Chi and KK are here joining us today. So Chi, if you want to go ahead and introduce yourself, let folks know where you're located, when do you plan to graduate, what program you're a part of, and anything else you want to add. And then KK, you can follow.
Sure. Hi, everyone. My name is Chi Chan, and I am based out of Tucson, Arizona. My background is in engineering. I'm currently a test engineer for Caterpillar, and I'm currently in the MBA program, but about to graduate in next December. And so I've been currently in the MBA program for just a little over a year. But nice to meet you guys, and excited to have you guys here.
Thank you.
Okay, hey, hello everyone, I'm KK. I'm based out in Toronto, Canada, and I'm almost done with my program. I'm graduating in May. I work as a director of IT in a bank up here in Toronto.
Awesome. Thank you so much, KK and Chi. Well, like I said, I'm so excited that you all are here today. Here's the agenda. So I'm just going to provide a brief overview of Gies Online. Then we're going to dive into networking, and we're going to talk about Gies-led events as well as student-led events. That's going to be pretty much the meat of the webinar. And then towards the end, we'll have a Q&A. So if questions are not answered in the Q&A, if you want to just have some live questions, Chi and KK are here to answer those questions. So let's talk a little bit about Gies Online Programs. So there are three main qualities within the Gies Online Programs. Number one, That's very flexible. So the flexibility is critically important to a lot of professionals out there. Our programs are all 100% online. So there is no in-person requirement to come to campus. So this allows our learners to not take up too much of their time. They can still have their family commitments, their career commitments. Our learners don't have to worry about quitting their jobs, all right, to earn their graduate degree. So the flexibility is there. And then we have 4 intake dates, for our MBA program and MSM program, and 2 for our MSA program. So it does allow learners to come in throughout different parts of the year. So there's that flexibility. It's also stackable, okay, the stackable programs. And so that's a big initiative of ours. And I'll talk about this here shortly. But this saves, our students time and money, right? You're able to stack coursework into a certificate, into a degree program. And then lastly is online by design. So we were a program that started in 2016, at least for our IMBA program, prior to the pandemic, right? So it wasn't one of these programs we just threw together because of the pandemic. This is something that started pre-pandemic, and we have such a strong infrastructure in place. It adds to that high quality learning environment. And so we want to make sure that our students are receiving a high quality experience. And so we have a pretty robust faculty, teaching and learning staff that accommodates our students throughout the program. So those are 3 big pillars of our program: flexibility, stackability, and online by design. Here's a range of our portfolio. And so, like I said, we have 3 100% fully online degree programs. Of course, our IMBA program just actually was nominated or awarded the best online MBA program by Poets and Quants in 2022. Poets and Quants, if you don't know, is a premier business magazine that's out there. And so we were very, very excited to hear the great news. Of course, that's just a testament to our awesome faculty, our awesome teaching and learning staff, and the high quality programs that we provide. And at the price point, right? I mean, our price point at a little bit over $23,000, it is awesome. And to be able to offer a high quality educational program at that price point is hard to beat. And so I think that was really the big reason why our program was awarded the top MBA program out there in the US. And so we also offer 5 certificate programs. As you can see on the screen, we are looking to add several more here in the near future. And so we're just expanding our portfolio of offerings to our students. We have some students who come in as a non-degree student. And then we also have a performance-based admission program for students who feel like they are not ready for a full degree program. And so we are always expanding our portfolio just to meet the learner where they are. Just want to quickly touch on the stackable build. Like I mentioned before, that's a big pillar of ours. And so there are different ways that students can actually engage in learning through Gies Online Programs. And so to start, students can start off just taking a free online course through Coursera, which is a partner of ours. And we utilize their platform to offer Illinois courses. But you can take free courses that are called MOOCs or Massive Online Open Courses. And so that's through Coursera. And then you can take a 4-credit course that consists of the high engagement component through the University of Illinois. And so students who tend to do that, they will go ahead and stack that course into a graduate certificate. And then students can take that graduate certificate and stack it into a degree program. And so you don't necessarily have to follow this pathway, but typically we have students kind of follow this pathway into a degree program. So you're not wasting time, you're not wasting money. You're able to take coursework and stack it into a 4-credit course to a grad certificate to an online degree program. Now, our Master's in Management program can stack into our MBA program that was announced fall of 2022. And we're looking to, here in the near future, to hopefully have all of our graduate degree programs within the Gies College of Business to stack into our IMBA program. So stay tuned for that. There's a couple of stats I'm going to throw out there in terms of learner success. And I think that just contributed to the award from Poets and Quants. We have a 96% student satisfaction rate, which is very high. So our students are satisfied, right, with the quality education that they're receiving. 91% are highly recommend the program, and then 61% receive promotion, job offers, or accepted a new job during the program. And so the average is about 22% in terms of salary increase while they're in the program. And so again, we'll kind of talk about the networking piece, which is a critical piece of the program. And I think that contributes to the high success and satisfaction rates of our students. So we have a really diverse group of students from all over the world, so many different backgrounds. I mean, this is for our IMBA program, for example, we have, several Fortune 500 companies represented throughout, not only within our MBA program, but our MSA and MSM programs as well. And so our students are able to connect and, with others from various backgrounds. And like she mentioned, she's part of a Caterpillar, right? And so it helps our learners to get different perspectives and to learn from each other, right? And so there's a diverse range of students within the programs, which I think just contributes to that rich learning environment. And then it's a global community. So we have students from all over the world represented as well. So not only do we have learners working within large companies, but we have learners who are part of startups. We have learners who are part of nonprofit organizations. We have engineers like Tia, we have doctors, we have lawyers, we have a range of professionals within the program. So this, again, is adds to that rich learning environment. Now, as I mentioned before, networking is such a critical piece. And most of you are attending this, if not all, are attending this webinar to really get an understanding of, what does networking look like within Gies Online Program. We feel that's a critical piece. Majority of our students are professionals, and so that majority are working professionals. And so networking is a critical piece, and it should be for any program. And so for our program, it helps deepen that learning experience. You get a chance to build those connections. And sometimes it may be a little challenging in a virtual environment. And so I feel like that's one of the strong points of our program is having that opportunity to network. You're not being forced to. Again, you're not being forced to come to campus. So these opportunities are optional, and it's totally up to you on how much you want to engage, right? So KK and Chi, obviously, they have chosen to really engage within the online programs, obviously within the classroom and outside of the classroom. But it's just totally up to you. I can say, just from talking to different students, I can say a good amount of our students are highly engaged within the program. So I would say, break it down to 6 ways, right? So there's Gies-led opportunities through iConnect, through Immersions, through iConverge, and I'll touch on each of these. And then there's student-led opportunities through workplace, student-led meetups, and then also group work. So we'll get a chance to kind of hear what is going on there. So iConnect events. So Chi or KK, have any of you, I think KK, I know you attended the iConnect event. Can you kind of talk about what the iConnect events entail and talk about your experience?
Sure. Yeah. If you actually really focus on that Houston Space Force photo, you'll actually see me in the front row. So I was there, right there. So this was earlier this year. So again, this is the best part of the program, right? The program is so flexible that we have an opportunity to connect with all our peers, and most importantly, learn from them directly, while it is not 100% forced, right? That's the main part. Is it's all optional. So, and it's all flexible. So this photo that was there, it's also a part of the immersion program, which was our Houston immersion earlier this year, and the iConnect right after that, right? So this is the overarching what the dean said in the iConverge really resonates with me is the fact that, hey, you are a student of the university. It doesn't matter whether you're online, whether you're sitting across the globe or right there in Chicago or in Urbana-Champaign. You have the same access to the university and the same access to the campus, which actually is a very bold statement and which is what I love. And gives that opportunity to actually connect, make friends for life.
Absolutely right. You hit it right on the head, KK. And we offer these, and so this iConnect, this is a Gies-led event, right? And our events, and so these iConnect events happen throughout the U.S. And so they're designed to expand like your network, right? Features typically it features a keynote speaker, maybe someone from leadership. I think Dean Brown spoke at the iConnect event in New York City last year. Sometimes we have a faculty or an alumni to speak. And so you're able to not only connect with your peers, but connect with leadership, connect with faculty, engage with them in person, right? And connect with alumni as well. Some of our past iConnect events were in New York. I think, KK, you were at one in Champaign, if I'm not mistaken, as well. And then I think we had one in Seattle, just to name a few. So that's one way that you can network within Gies Online Programs. Another way is through immersion events. And so we have what we call micro immersion events and global immersion events. And so throughout the year, the iDegree programs will visit cities across the US, either in person or virtually, to provide those opportunities for learners to connect regionally, right? And so, for example, we had one in Seattle, we had one in Houston. And so this allows, learners to visit companies, to be able to connect with those executives, through their coursework and the case studies, and do like a case study competition towards the end. And so, Chi, have you been part of an immersion program, Chi? Can you talk about where it was located in your experience?
I have not attended an immersion experience yet, but I have attended iConverge, and I can definitely attest to what Marcus says. It's definitely one of a really great event, but how it was last year was it was basically kind of like a 2.5 day event where on the first day you get to hear a lot of like your professors and teachers and other best good speakers speak. You have some dinner with some of your fellow students, so you get to kind of meet them in person, which is like the really exciting part, especially from coming from an online program. On the second day, you have some more panel sessions, but then we also have this really nice dinner that was put together by the school. And so you get to meet other people as well. And on the third day, we have a really cool tailgating event where you actually get to meet some of your fellow peers and continue to really focus and hone in on that networking aspect.
Yes, yes. And KK, can you talk about your experience with the immersion event in Houston?
Oh, absolutely. So it was a very, very well put together experience in terms of how the organization went. So yeah, we did have to apply for that immersion, and we got selected based on the credits that we completed. So we had a couple of days of workshops. The first day we went to the Houston Spaceport, and then the HARC, the Houston Aerospace Research Center, and then we learned what they did with their innovation lab and innovation hub. And then the second day we actually went over and met with a big company, an energy industry company. I won't be able to say the name due to the NDA on that one. But we had a case competition right there. We were a group of 7 groups with 6 to 7 people each. So we were a part of the group and we had a competition. So we took all our learnings, put a pitch to say how we can solve their business problem. And we had representatives from that company sit and evaluate our ideas and take it back to their company and come back to it. We actually ended up winning the immersion, the case competition in Houston. So it was an amazing trip that actually like opened up my knowledge in terms of what people know and how different backgrounds that we have can actually come together and solve a single business problem, even though you don't necessarily have to be in the same field.
Well, congratulations on the win.
Thanks.
I didn't realize that. And so sometimes where our immersion events are being held is sometimes in conjunction with our iConnect events. So the iConnect is more of like a networking, social, a speaker, and then an immersion event is tied to a course, And so sometimes we will just have those two, like for example, in Houston, it was an immersion event. And then at the end, there was an iConnect event in Houston. So students got best of both worlds in one location. So, but there are also, like I said, in-person and virtual immersion events as well. And so there's some that are global. And I know this year, I think there's going to be an immersion event in Brazil this year. And so students get a chance to understand like the culture, right, in that country, and obviously learn about the business community in those host countries as well. I think the global events are a little bit longer immersion events, but great if you're able to attend. And there's an additional cost to these events, and they vary, right? But with our price point being as low as it is, I think it affords a lot of our learners the opportunity to be able to attend these immersion events. So other previous immersion events, I think were like, let me see, I mentioned Houston, Seattle, Colombia, the country of Colombia, Japan, like I mentioned before, coming in Brazil. Now, Chi, you talked a little bit about iConverge, and so when did you attend, and are you planning on attending again this year?
Absolutely. So kind of like KK mentioned, if you look very closely onto the left side, second row, you'll see me in the picture as well too. But yes, I attended it for the first time last year, and I had such a great experience because one thing I was very blown away by was just how friendly everyone was. So I feel like sometimes when you don't go to an event where you don't know anyone, it's kind of nerve-wracking to just be able to have that courage to step out, could get out of your comfort zone and be able to talk to people. But over there, everyone is so friendly and so welcoming that I just felt like I was at home with everyone there. So it was a really great experience out there, and I got to really meet a lot of lifelong friends that I can kind of like hang out with and also study with from time to time.
Was there any part of iConverge that you felt like was I guess the most valuable to you out of the entire time?
Yes, one thing I really particularly enjoyed was all the speaker sessions. So I remember last year we were very focused about entrepreneurship. So they've actually had several alumni students that spoke about businesses or nonprofit organizations that they created on their end. And that was, for me, was personally really inspiring just because I aspire to kind of have my own business one day. And so that part was really, really well done, and I really liked it. I also really liked that the fact that you actually have a lot of your professors that will attend these events, and if you can find them, you can also be able to kind of like talk to your professor in person and all that. So I think that was like a really neat experience.
And KK, you were there as well. Is that correct?
Yep, I was definitely there.
What was your most enjoyable moment or session?
Yeah, I'd say like the highlight of my entire trip is to actually got the opportunity to meet with Larry Gies and with our Dean Brown, and all the faculty whose classes I took, who I've interacted with, and everyone in person, visiting the class, visiting the studios where they actually did the lectures. And actually we even during the iConverge, there was one session that was in progress, so we were able to grab a classroom, and actually sit there and do the live session right there, being with the students in the same class. So it was a phenomenal experience to sit in a class and learn at the same time, know that there is going to be a party right after that.
Great. So a great way to end the day and network and connect with your peers. And so As you can see, there were over 500 students. So even when students finish the program as an alum, you can still come back. So we had several alum come back to iConverge. And again, that's another way that you can connect and network with alum as well. Great representation domestically, and we had over 17 countries represented. I think we had a group of 12 learners from Singapore that actually attended iConverge as well. Did either of you attend a football game?
I did not, unfortunately, but I'm hoping to this year after seeing how fun it was last year.
Yeah, I did not either. I went shopping.
Got it. Well, I attended the game and we won. It was a great time. And actually, several of our learners had never attended a football game before, so it was a really great experience for them. And from my understanding too, several learners were able to, pick up their ID, their student ID, and so I got a chance to kind of, check out campus or what have you. And so again, this is another way that students can network within Gies Online Programs. And again, no pressure. You're not required to do this, but it is a great opportunity to get connected. So we, also want our learners to just, another way, I guess, to build community is through Workplace, that platform. And so, like I mentioned before, we have a very, very active student body. And so Workplace is another great way to connect, maybe talk about salary negotiation, job offers, or just life in general. And so can both of you kind of talk about maybe like your introduction to when you actually got on Workplace, how was it received, and do you utilize Workplace, or have you utilized your Workplace during your time?
Sure, I can start off. So I first got the introduction to Workplace was shortly after I got accepted as a student. One of the first things the program asks you to do is kind of type up like a little intro paragraph to introduce yourself to your fellow students. So I did that, and it was pretty incredible the amount of responses that I got, because since being from Arizona, I had many people from Arizona that actually reached out to me and told me that we actually have this own Workplace group for Arizona. And so I got to kind of attend some local student-led meetups through that program. One thing I've also used Workplace a lot for too is sometimes I have questions about certain classes. Maybe it's like the workload or just certain questions about it. And so I'll go ahead and post it on there. And usually pretty within minutes, you get a response from a fellow student trying to kind of answer your question, help you out with that. So it's been a really great experience using Workplace so far.
Oh, good. How about you, KK?
Yeah, I'd say like Workplace is like one of my most used apps on my phone. So that's, as she mentioned, like that's the most important, or the one of the first things that you install when you come in is like your Workplace, because that's where you're going to meet all your classmates, get your questions answered. You'll get to see like, hey, I read through the syllabus, I don't understand this, I did this, I don't understand that. Go have a chat. You'll be able to find people who are in the same time zone who are doing that. You can form a study group. You can actually have meetups, like offline meetups. Sometimes we also use Workplace for our group team assignments and other groups that we form. There are also interest groups, interest clubs, and pretty much like every course everywhere has one group. There is a group called Coffee Chat, who actually has like a one-on-one coffee chats with like pretty much everybody. So it's a very good. It's a branded Workplace is a branded Facebook pretty much. So it is a social media within the walls of the university.
Great to hear. And so again, our students are heavily involved within Workplace, and there's so many like different groups from my understanding that students can get connected with. And it kind of leads to what you mentioned earlier about being on Workplace and meeting up with students, right? So I would say, like I said, our student body is very, very active, and from my understanding, from what I've heard from students, they tend to meet up all over the place. And I met with some student ambassadors in New York City, and they were creating a New York City like meetup group or what have you, the 5 families, I guess, within the New York City boroughs. And so pretty interesting. But yeah, so Chi, can you talk about, where was this meetup held and what did it kind of like entail?
Yes, so far there was 2 meetups that I have attended. One was led by just a fellow Arizonian, and so we kind of had I think about a little bit of 10 people that attended, so that was pretty nice. And so we got it was just really kind of talking about some of the different classes and some of our experiences and kind of bonded over some general topics. But we also had a more official meetup where we had our associate dean, Narissa Brown, that actually came to Phoenix. And so it was really exciting being able to meet her. And one of the things that I have been trying to get in a program is I'm trying to get a new specialization created. And so try to use that opportunity to kind of get that. But that's one thing I've kind of really liked about these student meetups is you get to really meet a lot of like-minded people and all that. So yeah.
How about yourself, KK? What was your experience like in meetups? How many have you attended?
I haven't attended any of the meetups, unfortunately. I was supposed to go to one late last year, but due to some issues, I wasn't able to go.
Oh, no problem. Well, I've seen you around. You're based in Toronto, but I've seen you in Illinois. I've seen you in Texas, and so
Yep.
at various events. So you stay connected. Yeah, some of our past meetups have been in Chicago, Las Vegas, Philadelphia, South Africa, Sydney, Australia. So again, we have a global community. So these meetups can happen pretty much anywhere. I know we have some coming up in San Diego, Detroit, Salt Lake City, Rio de Janeiro. And so yeah, so this is again another way that students can really get connected and network within Gies online programs. I mean, and lastly, I just encourage students to really try and foster relationships. Whether you're like an undergrad, but if you're in grad school as well, it's critically important. Of course, fostering those relationships through team or group projects, can be very valuable. We have peer-driven discussions and tutoring within the program. That can be another way to connect. And then your faculty, right? Faculty have office hours. And then see, these are kind of like, you would think basic ways to network, but I think sometimes people don't think about it from that standpoint. Sometimes people think about it from this is a group project. I'm learning, I want to get a good grade in this project, and may not think outside of the box in terms of like, I want to actually connect with this person because what they said was great, and this is what I'm interested in, or what have you. So I encourage students, these are other ways that you can connect. Our faculty have office hours. Have the 2 of you taken advantage of faculty office hours? And if so, how was your experience?
Yes, I have definitely. I'm very avid on office hours just because I think it's a really great way to be able to kind of talk to your professors. There are some professors too that like to kind of do like one-on-one breakout sessions. And so you get to kind of really develop like a closer relationship with your professors and really like get the help that you need for your assignment. So I do use it quite a bit on that side.
Yeah, me too. So I don't miss an opportunity if I get the time and if the time and date was conducive for me to attend. I'll just at least join the faculty office hours and listen to the questions that comes from the other students, even if I don't have any questions. Just that repetition of like, hey, that's a good point. And those kind of things will be like an added advantage for my learning in terms of like how I go ahead and solve that assignment and how I grasp that particular subject.
Awesome. And like I mentioned before, like team projects, obviously you'll learn, from the experiences and perspectives, of your peers or what have you. And of course, from around the world, because you have a global community. And then you tend to collaborate like on real case studies, and so and you get a chance to share examples, right, from your career. And so can the 2 of you talk about, just your experience working like in group projects or what have you, and how has that gone?
Yeah, so I've done quite a bit of group projects because I've taken quite a few classes over this past year, and so far it's been definitely a lot of fun. Like so far, I've had quite a global team of like teammates and all that. So I've had people that's from Africa, from Canada, from Philippines, a lot in the US as well too. And so it's been kind of interesting trying to figure out sometimes times at work. But I think one thing is, when you're going into this program, a big part was like the networking part and being able to kind of meet other people that's outside your group. And so we've always found a time that works for us, even though we're kind of located globally. And throughout the experience, like a lot of my team members, especially in this MBA program, everyone's very driven. We all want to succeed and help each other succeed. And so one thing I really like about these team programs or these team projects is there's times when there's certain questions where it's a little bit harder for me to understand. And fortunately, I've been having some really good teammates that's really taking the time to kind of explain certain concepts to me to make sure I understand. So it's definitely a very good, like collaborative environment through these team projects.
Yeah, I'll say pretty much I share the same sentiment that she just shared. The team projects, I'd say, is the first number one networking opportunity that we get to, where we are actually assigned a team and said, like, go ahead and solve this problem together, kind of a thing. So for me, one of that team who we met, like, I think the second term or the third term in my program, we are friends from that time on, and we are the same group that's going to do our final program capstone. So you do form that friendship, you do form that bonding where you keep working with them. You like their work style, and you'll start to learn from them. And they're from like different countries and different backgrounds and everything. So it's actually a very good learning experience from one another.
Awesome. Great to hear. One area I wanted to just kind of touch on, I've been learning about is our Illinois Business Consulting program, and so it's the nation's largest student-run, professionally managed university consulting organization, right? And so it provides students with real-world project-based experience, and it's open to all majors and degree levels across campus. So it's just not regulated to undergrad. Our grad students are able to be a part of it. Our online students are able to be a part of the Illinois Business Consulting organizations. And so, and it provides, our clients, which have a worldwide clientele, just access, right, to like a team of students in those 6 key areas that are on the screen. And so it's just a great partnership. Students get a chance to learn, get that real world experience, and then companies have the opportunity to receive this knowledge from an experienced team of students. So this is just another way that our students can network, right, with professionals. Again, you're working on these projects with these companies, and you have the opportunity to connect with folks and your teammates as well. And so it is an application process. It's pretty rigorous process. There's a behavior and case component to the interview. And so, but this is another option to get connected and network within Gies Online Programs. And last, it's just something I just want to share. Just engage with social media. I love LinkedIn. I'm heavily involved with LinkedIn. I see a lot of our students on LinkedIn. I know KK on LinkedIn. We message each other through LinkedIn. But just some numbers, some stats I just wanted to show everyone. And so again, if you're not on LinkedIn, definitely need to get on LinkedIn. We have a heavy presence. Like I said, our Gies Online graduate students are heavily represented. And then we are heavily represented as a institution and as our online program. So just wanted to share some numbers there in regards to LinkedIn. I just want to also share some upcoming deadlines. And so again, if you'd like to start a master's degree program, which is our MBA, MSM in May or IMSA in June, you need to submit your application by tomorrow, Thursday, April 6th, 11:59 Central Time. And then if you are looking to start a graduate certificate, the deadline is Wednesday, April 19th, 11:59 p.m. And then if you're looking to start in the fall, in August, our priority one deadline is Thursday, May 4th. And, I encourage students, if you want to, be considered for a scholarship, definitely apply by that priority one deadline. And so just wanted to share these upcoming deadlines with you all. And then our upcoming Gies events, these are Gies-led events. And so we have a general iDegree webinar this Saturday at 9 a.m. Central Time. So it's going to provide a general overview of our MBA program, our MSM program, and an MSA program. And so you hear a little bit more about the application process, probably touch on the curriculum of each program. And you'll probably hear a little bit about what we just talked about earlier today. Then there's ambassador office hours. And so these are student ambassadors like Chi and KK. And so give you an opportunity to, ask questions, right? And so the times are listed there. And then there's a coffee chat for anyone who is military and just wanted to understand the military community and the opportunities and support for online students. That is coming up on Thursday, April 27th at 12 p.m. And so you all should receive, if you haven't received an email about these upcoming events or deadlines, since attending this webinar, registering for this webinar, you should receive correspondence about these deadlines and events here in the near future. And so that kind of concludes our webinar. And so if you do have questions, there's our contact information, but we still have time. We have 15 minutes left for any questions. So we will end this portion and then we will open up the virtual floor for any questions you all may have for us. No, Kate, was there anything that was kind of pressing?
Yeah, a couple questions. So Chi, this one's kind of for you. So there was a couple questions about homework and grading in the classes. Is it graded by course assistants or is it peer graded? And then along with that, I know you're just in one class as a course assistant, but kind of what's the student to course assistant ratio? Like how big is your class? And you said, I think there was about 10 course assistants possibly in your class. So if you can talk a little bit about that.
Sure. So yes, in terms of the grading, so there's actually two portions. So first off, for like the Coursera portion where all of our most of our online videos are, there are usually at least one pair review assignment. That's basically where another student or three students, usually just three students, I will review your work and then assign you a grade. And that's just basically in Coursera, and then you just have to kind of pass that, which isn't too bad. We also do have kind of high engagement assignments that's offered through our platform called Canvas, and those are the ones that I personally grade as one of the graders for the program. And so currently, in terms of student to grader ratio, it's every grader it kind of depends on the class, because some graders might have more or less graders. So for the current class that I'm doing a project management class. We currently have about 13 graders, and each grader is assigned to about 30 students. And so that's kind of a proportional approximate ratio that you can kind of expect to. And then is there anything else that I'm missing about the grading, Kate?
No, I think that was it.
Okay.
There was a couple questions about the Coursera component compared to the high engagement component. So I don't know if, one of you can describe kind of what the content of the course is made up of, including those two parts.
Yeah, I can probably chime into that one. I'd say the Coursera portion, consider that actually a textbook, right? So finish the Coursera portion. That's the first initial thing. Try finishing that before the live session, and then the live session takes on the explanation of that. go through a couple of cases. The relevant latest ones from the market gets discussed during the live session as well. And the Canvas actually adds on complementary information. And Canvas is pretty much where the core assignments and everything that's graded towards the total grade relies on like everything in campus. That's the high engagement portion of everything. So Coursera, start, that's the book. And then the high engagement, the Canvas is where it ends.
Okay, Marcus, do you mind explaining, to those who have taken a Coursera MOOC ahead of time before applying to one of our programs, and what that means as far as earning credit within an Illinois course?
Yeah, so the MOOC is kind of like the textbook, of the high engagement portion of the Illinois class. And so students will not earn an actual transcriptal grade. So basically you will, if you complete the MOOC portion, then you will earn completion, and so you need to complete 2 MOOCs within a class to get that completion component. But just taking a MOOC by itself will not earn you actual course credit or graded credit through the University of Illinois. You have to take that second portion, a high engagement portion, to earn a grade or credit.
Cool. Thanks. I got one last question, and keep the questions coming because I think I've gotten through most of them to our guests. Question. Okay, Joel, full-time and part-time programs have the advantage of hiring pipeline, and that those programs unlock on campus recruiting, with campus recruiting. My question is, what does the Gies IMBA program offer in terms of face-to-face connections with employers? So I think they're getting more at in an undergraduate scenario, sometimes or many times, like the Gies Business College will offer a lot of recruiting events. We don't do that in our graduate programs and online. And if you two can explain a little bit about why we don't, and how you network and job search and earn promotions within the program.
Sure, I can kind of maybe start us off. So one thing is kind of like we mentioned earlier is a lot of students, we really heavily utilize Workplace. So in Workplace, sometimes we've had a lot of team members where they want to look at a new role, or they're just interested in a certain company. So I actually have a friend here that's based in Phoenix where she wanted to kind of transition to a completely different and pivot into kind of like a different departments. And so she ended up posting her resume on Workplace, and she asked for people to kind of review her resume, and also if there's anyone that's interested in this particular company to please reach out to her. And she actually ended up getting a few contacts through that. And so kind of one thing that's really great about the program is we can kind of utilize that aspect to be able to kind of network with someone, because our program is so big, you're probably bound to find someone that has connections to the company that you're looking for, and we utilize that to be able to kind of change jobs, and that's what you're interested in.
That was a great example. And I know we have some fabulous statistics as far as the 62% of our IMBA students will earn a promotion or a job change within the program and the time with us, as well as an average increase of 22% in their salary. So really great stats. KK, do you have anything to add to that?
Yeah, I'm definitely part of that stats right there. I did get a promotion as soon as I started my program, and while partway through the program. So that's one. And then, yes, so as she mentioned, I have seen my friends from the study groups and the iConverge and the other immersion programs actually reach out to connections across the globe to find opportunities. I've seen people move from one place to another place geographically by getting, just for the virtue of hey, here's a referral. I know this person, he's been a great study group member for us. We know that there's an integrity, there's a reference market that completely opens up. So yeah, it's phenomenal that way.
Excellent. Congrats on your promotion.
Yeah, congratulations on
That
Thank
is
you.
all the questions, Marcus.
Okay. Okay, awesome. We have 7 minutes left. So any last questions? If not, again, thank you all for being here, and thank you, Chi and KK, for providing your knowledge about your experience through the MBA programs and our MBA program. And thank you, Kate, again for your assistance. And again, thank you all for joining us. Reach out if you do have any questions. Take care.